Now, it's well established that at one point in time, it was rather common for former WWE superstars to pass away at a young age. However, thanks to policies that WWE have introduced to monitor and regulate what superstars have been putting into their bodies, the amount of wrestlers passing away prematurely has certainly gone down. When any wrestler passes away, it's a big thing, not only just in WWE but around the wrestling world. There unfortunately are some wrestlers who have slipped under the radar and you might not have known have passed away. Number 10. Louis Piccoli. And most fans know Louis Piccoli for his time in WWE as enhancement talent between 1988 and 1995. But in 1995, Piccoli would be given the biggest opportunity of his career. He'd be repackaged as Rad Radford and he would attempt to join the Body Donners tag team. But Piccoli would find little to no success with the character and the storyline would be dropped by the 1995 Survivor Series. Unfortunately, in 1998, Piccoli would suffer an overdose and would pass away at just 27 years old.
We'd like to dedicate this show to our friend, Louis Piccoli.
ECW would actually host a 10-bell salute at 1998 CyberSlam pay-per-view. Piccoli had a run in the company towards the end of his life, and it was great to see ECW honor him in this manner. Number 9. Timothy Well. In 1993, Timothy Well along with Steve Dunn joined the WWE and the duo would form a tag team known as Well Dunn. The tag team wasn't too well known though, as their main purpose was to put over other tag teams. This was a role that the team did extremely well in and the duo would have a number of matches with the likes of the Bushwhackers. Unfortunately, in early 2017, Well suffered a heart attack at his home in Kentucky and would pass away at the age of 55. Number 8. Stephen Dunn. Timothy Well's tag team partner in the aforementioned Well Dunn tag team didn't have too much success following Well Dunn's departure from the WWE. And most wrestling fans associate Dunn for being in the match with the Mauler on WCW Nitro when Scott Hall debuted in WCW. And this was the match which notably launched the NWO storyline. Dunn, whose real name was Stephen Dull, would pass away in 2009. Dull would tragically pass away after a blood clot from his lung reached his heart, and he was only 48 years old. Number 7. Doug Furnas. Doug Furnas would make his WWE debut at the 1996 Survivor Series pay-per-view. He would join the WWE alongside his longtime tag team partner Philip LaFon, and the duo would predominantly have great matches with the likes of the British Bulldog and Owen Hart. The duo would never manage to win the tag team titles, but they did have one reign as ECW tag team champions, as well as a number of reigns as tag champions during their time in Japan. Furnas would sadly pass away in 2012 in his home in Arizona. Unfortunately, his body was found decomposed, which made medical examiners question just how long he had been deceased for. This was believed to be around a month. Furnas's official cause of his passing would be hypertensive heart disease. Furnas was 52 years old. Number 6. Ludwig Borger. Now, most WWE fans know of Ludwig Borger for being the superstar who WWE would book to break the unbeaten streak of Tatanka. And following this huge victory, Borger would receive a huge push to the main event scene and would eventually feud with Lex Luger, who was one of WWE's top babyfaces at the time. Unfortunately, an ankle injury suffered in 1994 made Borger realize that he had no future in the WWE, and instead he decided to try his hand at MMA. And in 2010, it was revealed that Tony Harm, who portrayed the Borger character, had sadly passed away after ending his own life. Harm was just 47 years of age. Number 5. Jimmy Del Rey. Jimmy Del Rey was mostly known by WWE fans for his time spent in the tag team known as the Heavenly Bodies. Alongside Tom Pritchard, the duo would compete during the New Generation period of WWE, and although the two were regularly featured, they were never able to capture the tag team titles. In December 2014, Del Rey would suffer a heart attack behind the wheel of his vehicle. The incident would end his life at just 52 years of age. Jim Cornette would pay tribute to Del Rey on his podcast by stating that nobody worked harder than him in the ring, which is a huge compliment and just shows how gifted Del Rey was in the squared circle. Number 4. Nicole Bass. Nicole Bass first burst onto the scene in WWE during the Attitude Era. Debuting at WrestleMania 15, Bass would act as Sable's villainous bodyguard. She didn't do too much during her time in the WWE. Most of her short tenure was spent feuding with Deborah, as well as joining forces with Val Venus and Ivory. Bass would spend her later years exploring other ventures as well as work independent shows, but unfortunately she passed away in 2017 after she suffered a stroke at just 52 years old. Jeff Jarrett, who was an on-screen rival of Bass during a WWE tenure, would lead the tributes for Bass by saying, "She was someone who loved the business, she really did. It goes without saying that she wasn't the best in-ring performer or talker, but her look was so unique. She played on that strength, and she did that very well." Number 3, the ECW Zombie. Now, Tim Arson would be mostly known for WWE fans for portraying the infamous ECW Zombie on the debut edition of ECW on Sci-Fi. The Zombie would notably enter the ring and he would be destroyed by Sandman, who laid him out with numerous shots with his trademark kendo stick. Unfortunately, he passed away at an extremely young age. He was just 38 years of age. The cause of his passing has never been disclosed to the public. Now, although he didn't have a massively successful career in WWE, he was without a doubt a key part of one of the most memorable segments of the ECW revival. Number 2, Matt Cappelli. Matt Cappelli was the co-winner of Tough Enough 3. He would win the competition alongside the future John Morrison, and as a result the duo would win a WWE contract. Cappelli was infamously the contestant who had a run-in with Hardcore Holly on his season of the show, and if you're not familiar with the incident, Holly decided to be extremely rough with Cappelli in the ring, giving him a bloody nose and even legitimately knocking him out. Now, Cappelli would have a number of appearances throughout the years, including an appearance at Vengeance 2003's Barroom Brawl. However, Cappelli would later suffer with cancer, and a tumor on his brain would ultimately result in the young wrestler passing away at just 38 years of age. And number 1, Sean O'Hare. Sean O'Hare was one of the brightest young stars during the final days of WCW. Alongside Chuck Palumbo, they would be part of the Natural Born Thrillers tag team combination, and O'Hare had a lot of upside that WWE would without a doubt be interested in. When O'Hare eventually made it to the WWE, it took some time for them to work out what would be the best character for him. They decided on a Devil's Advocate style gimmick, and he would be part of the SmackDown brand in 2003. The WWE had so much faith in the character and O'Hare as a superstar that they even paired with him with the legendary Rowdy Roddy Piper in a feud with Hulk Hogan's alter ego Mr. America. Even though the gimmick was ahead of its time, it didn't take off unfortunately, and O'Hare would be released in 2004. Following his release, O'Hare would sadly suffer from depression and alcoholism and would take his own life in 2014 at just the age of 43. WWE would release a statement on their website announcing O'Hare's passing, and a number of tributes from fans and wrestlers were shared across social media.